they're not thinking about you. So they're not underestimating you because they're just not thinking about you. They're thinking about themselves.
We see characters constantly shrinking themselves to fit around your character, Michaela.
Mhm.
What is something you wish women would stop apologizing for?
Mm. Well, I actually think that the interesting part of your question is the first part, is where you talk about someone shrinking themselves. So um, I think that that's something that we tend to do. You know, women are sort of taught that they might not be the protagonists of their own story, that somehow what's going on around them is more important, and they will shrink themselves to fit somebody else's narrative or some other situation. I think that's something that it's very difficult for us, in a world that's a patriarchy, to fight against, to learn how to say, like, no, no, this is mine, and I'm allowed to take up space.
And so many of the women in the series have their own sort of secrets going on.
I didn't come here because I want your money. I came here because I want my sister to help me.
And voila. Jose,
Sí, mi amor.
would you take Devin to the Whaler Inn? We have you booked in the Admiral Suite, and you are leaving in the first flight out tomorrow morning, business class.
I wondered if you could tell me one thing about women that never gets spoken about.
I don't know. I think we talk about everything. I think that that's kind of the great thing about being female. I mean, I noticed that, with my female friends, and I noticed that with my daughter and my sister. I feel like there's a lot that I think there's so much that we share, and I think that's the great thing about being a woman, is that I feel like I can be pretty open about, like, who I am and what I feel with all my female friends.
Yes, what kind of importance do you put on female friendship?
A tremendous amount of importance. I mean, and on a friendship in general, just I think that that's like, I think building a community, having people that you can share your life experience with, being able to witness someone else's life. I think that's the most important part about being a human being.
Your character, Michaela, is sort of underestimated by the people around her.
Yeah.
Does this look like fun to you? Being a Mrs. Somebody?
Your life looks very fun.
Oh, it is, at first.
Have you ever felt underestimated and what changed that?
I always say, in terms of how you feel about, who you are and what you're going to do and how you'll accomplish it. I think people often feel like they're being judged, that we all do, particularly when we're younger. You enter into a situation, you feel like, oh, people don't think that I'm up to it, or people, or they're underestimating or whatever. But what I always say is that that's a perception sometimes that we have of ourselves. In reality, most people are thinking about their own abilities and their own, place in the world. They're not thinking about you. So they're not underestimating you because they're just not thinking about you. They're thinking about themselves. So I think that's a really important thing for us all to remember.
Yeah, I think that's so, so true.
Mhm.
Like when you have such a problem in your life, you're like, actually, no one,
No
no
one
one.
noticed. Yeah, yeah.
Would you have a similar attitude to imposter syndrome?
Um, well, that's actually something that's kind of interesting, that it's a phrase that sort of got sort of blew up, right, and went everywhere. Um, and it's a little bit like, it kind of gets conflated with self-esteem and all of that, and confidence, this idea of having confidence in yourself. And what I would say with all of that, because it's sort of a, I don't know, it's difficult to define, but when we talk about, like, not having confidence or feeling like an imposter, I think the only remedy for any of those things is preparation. And I think that if anyone, it doesn't come from, I know that stuff doesn't come from inside, in a sense, right? It comes from, like, the work that you do outside. So when you study something, when you take the time to learn it, when you immerse yourself in something, when you, physically accomplish things, that's sort of when you feel able. And I think that that's what's more important to concentrate on than this idea that you don't feel up to it. I think it's like that, to actually do it is really what makes you feel that you can do it.
Hmm, that's lovely.
Mhm.
Okay, and I'll leave you on one final question,
Okay.
which is, have you ever had to walk away from something that looks perfect on the outside, but really it isn't?
Oh gosh. Yeah, I think that generally when I think our hopes are always can be really high for a job or for a relationship or for a friendship, but we can make a lot of assumptions about something before we know what the reality of it is. So I think we don't ever know. We don't have any answers, but that's what life is too. It's like you have to engage in order to know whether or not it's for you. So you should be able to walk away if it's not for you.